Toulists.
An ugly and angry tide of recriminations and bitterness swept up the dais yesterday at City Council and filled the ears, sloshed into the ear canals of the members of City Council: Chip Henderson, Anthony Byrd, Demetrius Coonrod, Carol Burrs, and the rest. The recriminations, the bitter tirades, were on points that we can attribute to state intervention in the free market, state intervention against the liberties of people like you, my listener here on the David Toulis Show. I do thank you for tuning into the program. And there are two main points that were at issue that were described by several speakers in the public speaking section of the meeting, always at the end of the meeting, and usually the most interesting part of any Tuesday night gathering of the city's legislative branch. They were the abuse of police power against innocent people and police official violence by, again, these are city employees who are given a grant, a kind of privilege and immunity against the people to use tasers, violence, and the like. And the other state intervention against, again, I'll say it, against the liberties of the people called the Free People of Tennessee on the point of owning property, and something so familiar we really don't think about it anymore as an offense, as a breach of the government's power, the state's power against us, which we don't know how to turn back, and it hasn't been litigated, and that is zoning and property controls by people who don't own the property and yet have some say in what is done or not done or how things have to look on a given piece of property in the corporation of Chattanooga. And this is David Toulis. I do thank you for tuning into the program. We argue that you should love your neighbor and buy local, and it's very wet out there, and there are many changes afoot. You've probably seen them. It's taken you longer to get to where you're going. I know when I came in on our yellow Hummer from North County, I had to take a detour and slow down grievously on certain sections of the road because of rushing waters and spray from my car, which flew into my windshield very badly, forcing me to go very, very slowly, more slowly than I would have. And so it's taking longer to get from one place to another, whether you are driving or traveling in your car. Either way, you're going to have to build in some extra time to get around here in Chattanooga and Hamilton County from the rain. It's been a wet few days here. And there are closures, and Hamilton County Schools announced about an hour ago that it is dismissing students. So if you have children in Hamilton County Schools, you've already gotten word about that, probably by text message. Boyd Buchanan School is closing, is already closed. There's no aftercare. There are no after-school activity. Boyd Buchanan. Dayton City School is closing already. 15 minutes ago, pre-K and K dismissed at noon. That's an hour ago now. So that's just FYI looking back. First Centenary United Methodist Church, there's an evening event tonight, and that is canceled. Again, First Centenary United Methodist. Hamilton County Schools, that's closed all day today. Brandon High School, however, an anomaly. Brandon High School, something out of the norm, and I don't have details here, but you're not being allowed to pick up your children because of a kind of medical lockdown. This is something that we've not heard about, and we'll leave that for later. But there is that exception. Hickson First Baptist CDC is closed today. Notre Dame, as they call it, Notre Dame, closed just now closing. Rehoboth Baptist Church closed today. There are no evening activities, according to reports that have come into fellow press and members of the media here in Chattanooga. Wednesday evening service is canceled. That is Rehoboth, I should say correctly, Rehoboth Baptist Church. Richard Hardy Memorial School is closed just half an hour ago. That was announced. And Sequoia Baptist Tabernacle closed. And it's important to note that these are churches in the roundup. They are customarily holding worship services of the one true God about dinner time or just after. So all services canceled at Sequoia Baptist, Woodland Park Baptist Church. No evening activities there either. First Centenary UMC today. Nothing this evening. All primetime Wednesday activities canceled. Again, First Centenary United Methodist Church, CGLA, and Chattanooga Prep closing early. That was about half an hour ago now. And no activities at CGLA and Chattanooga Prep, just so you'll know. Dayton City Schools closing early, again, 50 minutes ago. And pre-K and K already dismissed at Dayton. Grundy County Schools closing early just now closing. That is Central Time, so that's still about 50 minutes ahead if I'm thinking correctly. Hickory Valley Christian Church, no evening services or activity. Marion County Schools already closed. Marion County Meigs closed today. Miles Strait Baptist, no evening services. Notre Dame High School, mentioned that already, closing early. Orange Grove Center, there are delays and buses are delayed as well. Orange Grove Center, Rehoboth mentioned that. Ray County Academy closing early just now. And also Ray County Schools just now shutting down for the day. Richard Hardy Memorial closing just now, also about half an hour ago. Ridgedale Baptist, no evening services. That's Ridgedale Baptist. Same for well, not quite same, but similar for Silverdale Baptist Academy, dismissing early. Just now at 1 o'clock. St. Jude School also just now announcing that it is closed. That's St. Jude. At Stewart Heights Baptist, no evening services or activities. And dinner, well, you're going to have to forego dinner at Stewart Heights tonight. Woodland Park Baptist, no evening services. And then also, finally, just Berean Academy closing a little early today, just ahead at 3:30, just after I'm finished chatting with you. That is Berean Academy. Berean Baptist Church is closed today. Also, no evening activity. So there are changes. And if we can think to, if we don't get caught up in the news of our city here in Helena County and Chattanooga, well, we'll get back to that if I can. It depends on whether you occupy me or whether I have time to drum my fingers here on my desk. The name is David Toulis, and we're brought to you by Nuganomics.com. Also, Router Pros, just a top-notch North Georgia plumber that services the Chattanooga area. Now, City Council has, as I'm suggesting, been dealing with the fruits of intervention. Now, my name is David Toulis, and I'm a classical liberal, which means that I'm for liberty, which is to say that I'm a true conservative. We have many conservatives who are essentially socialists and fascists. They believe in state intervention, state ownership, state control of many parts of the economy, and they believe in trust, right? The biggest trust that they will accept is the national government or even the state government. But I argue differently. I see, because I'm informed by the greatest library in the world, that is to say the scriptures, 66 volume library, that indeed that God wants there to be in human society liberty and prosperity, and that you can't have really one without the other. They need each other under a sovereign and providential God and Creator. And when we have interventions in the marketplace, when we have the systems of licensure and regimes, when we have ways of running our countries, where we have elites who control other people and are over other people, that's called intervention, right? Usually the government's the biggest player. Chattanooga is suffering from grievous interventions, and in a way there are laws, they are ideas also. For example, the militarization of policing, that is an intervention. It is a homegrown intervention that expands outward. The blue claiming more and more of society, more roles that it really has no competence to claim, roles that are truly if you hear the Wednesday night service at your church, assuming you have one tonight, You hear from the pulpit that the authority of the magistrate, the judge, is really limited just to the sword. And it is not, the sword is not constructive. It is destructive only. The constructive work of society and civilization is not by compulsion, not by the sword. It is in the church, and it is in the family, right? And in the free enterprise, in the private sector, you could say. And we are hearing from people such as Marie Mott. We heard from also from Isaiah Moore, a former gang member, last night. And also there was a grocer, I must say, whose testimony in his 5-minute slot was very difficult to understand. I couldn't really understand what his grievance was, but he seemed to be very sympathetic with what Isaiah Moore said, and also with what Marie Mott said. He spoke after her. These people, and also your host here, David Tullis, had a brief pitch for a man named Noah McLemore, whom I said was abusively and interventionistically harassed by routine and unremarkable police enforcement activity and suspicion. And so this tide is, again, of intervention that is all about force and not about grace. Okay, it's all about compulsion and coercion and not about grace. Grace is something that God teaches people to do, right? If they reject God and reject the idea of sovereign grace, the idea of providence, they have to resort to some kind of predestinating force, right? And that is what man-made systems, following Rousseau and the philosophers, always give us. They give us systems of compulsion and not the voluntary, gracious system, which is called free market capitalism, entrepreneurialism, and Western civilization. All of Western civilization comes from the fruit of the Reformation, which is, of course, from the fruit of the gospel itself. And all the technological advantages that we have come from that, from science. Just read, for example, the work of Vishal Mangalwadi, his book published 4 or 5 years ago by Thomas Nelson in Nashville. And I think it's called The Book That Made Your World. It's History of the Bible, and how the Bible brought everything that we have today. And Thomas Cahill, I think that's his name, the historian, a secularist, talks about the gifts of the Jews, how from the Israelites came the most remarkable changes in the way human beings perceive themselves, and how, as he says, the Jews, as he calls them, gave us everything from the novel to financial innovations. Even Paul Johnson, in his conventional history of the Jews, tells this of this remarkable development in human civilization. So that, again, that the point there is of all that is just to say that in the free market there is the operation of other lookingness of people. People look to others, look out for others, right? It is other centric, which is the main argument of the gospel. Think about others first and yourself last. All the parables can be boiled down to that. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and your neighbor as yourself. In other words, love God first, who made you. Thank Him for your breath and for your taste and for sleep and for love and for children and for good wine and for the best cheeses sold by Virgula. Thank Him for those things. And our problem in Chattanooga is that we have rejected, and our city has rejected, and our state have rejected this idea of a free market. And so we have constraints upon the free market. We have police and we have zoning. Now, I'm not going to detail here the whole problem with zoning, but if you want to learn more about where freedom can be found and how, make sure you go to the work of Chuck Marone. His platform is strongtowns.org. Strong Towns. Just look up Strong Towns and you'll find remarkable essays about how a free market generally works better, and how it is government intervention, government programs, government money, government control of loans that have brought us to a national impasse. We are at the point of impasse in our country. and disaster is upon us in many ways. The economy does not work anymore, and even the false signals of free credit aren't working anymore. So for every trillion, every $1 billion ejaculated into the economy, there's less success, right? There's less impregnation. There's less new work that's done, new jobs created, new plants started, new lines developed. The effect of this new capital, so-called, this new debt, is less and less and less. And so finally, we are at an impasse in our country. Intervention, and zoning is just one of them. Zoning is one of a myriad of state-based coercive interventions that prevent people from running Airbnb. We don't have Airbnb rights in our city because people such as Darren Ledford and I think even Russell Gilbert and others voted to prevent the use of the internet to have short-term vacation rentals. So again, we have following Chip Henderson's plan, his map of allowed areas and disallowed areas, we have an intervention. And we have contortions and distortions and injury to thousands of families who are barred, at least through October, barred from using the internet to get out-of-town visitors. Again, that's an intervention. The solution that we want to think about here in Chattanooga is one that is in reach. It is in reach, and it's called, and the word, amazingly enough, covers many areas. Jerry Mitchell, it covers many areas. Darren Ledford and Anthony Byrd, and that would be de-escalation. The word de-escalation should be a theme. Now, it's not that you, my listener, it's not that you are de-escalating. Yeah, the number, you want the number? 800-8949. Do call me, 800-8949. Propose a solution. Well, maybe you have an idea that I haven't thought of. I'm sure you do. And let me hear from you. The number is 800-8949, 800-8949. We're brought to you by Nuganomics.com. That has, I'd say, the best report about the city council last night. I think I'm trying to write reports that are accurate and true and have just enough, you might say, editorializing, which is to say my analysis, right? My opinion. To make them interesting. You read Judy Walton's piece in the Times Free Press, and it's just very bland, very kind of minimal. It's kind of minimal. And what I'm trying to do is capture the ideas of the people there, the ideas of the council members, whom I get quotes from, and also, which reminds me, I do have a quote here, and I think I don't have enough time to get to it, but Marie Mott is our host here at the 11 o'clock hour. Make sure you tune in to Marie here on 92.7 FM. She is well, she's a fireball, and she had a speech which has had an amazing amount of people watching it. It's live on Facebook, and I urge you to not miss this. Okay, it's already been shared by thousands of people here in Chattanooga. No one outside of Chattanooga cares about this speech. Okay, but if you live here, you will care about what our Marie Mott, who is an independent social Christian activist, you want to hear what she has to say. And that's live on Facebook, live right now. You can go there right now at Nougat Radio here at 800-8949. That's 800-8949 and watch her. She is a woman of tremendous passion, and she's complaining about intervention that in one sense now, and here's the point that she makes about that, the bitter wave of animus, you might say, that has flooded the dais of Anthony Byrd and Demetrius Coonrod on city council, sloshed up the way there, full of white foam. And that is when we have gentrification, the problem is, and Ashley Woodward Henderson has complained about this too, as I've heard her. Gentrification. Well, what is that? That is effectively the improvement of a neighborhood by people who buy in, restore, repair, and then sell. Okay, they're living there for 3 or 4 years, remodeling, having young families, often having children, and then they move on and they make a profit in selling the house as a real estate asset. That's an investment concept, and it's also something that has a negative effect, and that is that the rent that the poor people who paid there before the house was sold, that rent is going up, it's going up, it's going up. And so these poor people often are pushed out, and they have to move elsewhere, finding cheaper quarters. And I have a note here: the Hamilton County Emergency Management has opened a command post at Dallas Bay Volunteer Fire Department Station 2 in support of the flooding and rescue efforts in the Dallas Bay and Soddy Daisy area. Heavy rainfall there, and the American Red Cross is reporting that several homes in the Depot Street area have been flooded and residents have had to evacuate, and now the Red Cross has 2 shelters open. Here they are, Red Cross shelters, if you need a place to stay for a day or two. Oak Street Baptist Church, that's 11340 Oak Street, North Oak in Soddy Daisy, and then also Daisy First Baptist Church, Daisy First Baptist and Oak Street Baptist. Just check those on your phone. We'll have a temporary shelter if you need it. This is David Toulis, and we are here live, brought to you by Nuganomics.com.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
22-year-old Austin Clemens was hospitalized after shots were fired into a home on Fraser Circle. Chattanooga police asked for the public's help in gathering information. If you saw what happened, give them a call. A new trial for Anjali Moore, the man found guilty of murder, was denied. Moore said at a recent hearing that he only confessed to the crime because he was beaten by a Chattanooga police detective and was held for over 13 hours in handcuffs. His attorney also noted that phone records proved he was not at the murder scene. Despite this, Judge Poole wrote in his opinion that he did not find grounds for a new trial. And John Smith, the man accused in the deadly Grundy County shooting, was transferred from the hospital to the county jail. He's accused of killing his ex-wife and wounding 2 others before he himself was taken down by return fire. Deputies say the murder happened in front of their children. Val St. John for Nooga Radio, News Talk 92.7, Action News now.
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM.
Cash, 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 and more cash. Get 8.1% return on your money. Rick Davis can turn your cash into real money. Gold and silver bullion. American Eagle Gold. The banks give you a measly 1.9%. At Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, you'll get 8.1% return on your money. 8.1% return on your money. Wow! Whether you're buying an ounce or 100 ounces, Rick guarantees it in writing. 8.1% Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. Brainerd Road, Chattanooga.
Let's face it, Old Faithful isn't as faithful as it used to be. Constant repairs are a hassle and can rack up quick and money and time. Landers McClarty Ford can fix that. Right now, you can get a 2016 Ford Focus, 34,000 miles, only $11,491. A 2017 Chevy Spark with only 17,000 miles for less than $12,000. A 2015 Volkswagen Jetta with less than 21,000 miles for $11,991. Yeah, browse their entire inventory of new and new-to-you cars, trucks, and SUVs online at Landers McClarty Ford of FortPayne.com. Landers McClarty Ford of Fort Payne. If you can't find your next perfect ride, they'll go find it for you. Big city selection, small town prices, friendly service, and top dollar for your trade. The savings are waiting and only a short drive away, so what are you waiting for? Get started with your personalized shopping today at Landers McClarty Ford of FortPayne.com.
Join Nooga Radio and the Gridiron Gang live from 7 to 9 at Starbucks at 10 North on the North Shore. We're talking all things high school football. There's a specialty brew or refresher weekly inspired by the game of the week. Sweet treats, extended hours all season long, and we're pet friendly. Portions of all proceeds support local schools and educational scholarships as well as after-school programs. It's football time in Tennessee. Join us every Thursday live from 7 to 9 at Starbucks, 10 North, your North Shore neighborhood living room.
Your home is a constant work in progress. Repaint the walls? Yeah, easy enough. Leaky faucet? There's a video for that. But roof repair? You might want some help. That's where Chattanooga Roofing Contractors come in. They have 3 generations of roofing excellence you can count on. Leave the ladder in the garage. Go to chatroofing.com. That's chatroofing.com for Chattanooga Roofing Contractors, a roofing company you can trust.
It's that time of year again. For the 7th year, Wings Over North Georgia Air Show will be Saturday, October the 13th and Sunday, October the 14th. You'll see some of our government's finest assets flying in the world today. The rarely seen Air Combat F-22 Raptor demo team and the A-10 Warthog will both headline the show, along with Tora Tora Tora, which is the reenactment of Pearl Harbor to include pyrotechnics. Patty Wagstaff and Michael Goulian, both world aerobatic champions, will be showing off their amazing skills, along with numerous other aviation rock stars. On the ground, you'll be able to experience military static displays and even have an opportunity to ride in a Huey or Cobra helicopter. Wings Over North Georgia is an action-packed way to spend a weekend with your family. You can even camp on the grounds. The Richard B. Russell Regional Airport is the place for all the action on October the 13th and the 14th. For tickets and camping reservations, visit wingsovernorthgeorgia.com.
Man, you sure you know what you're doing?
Yeah, I worked with my dad on his truck all the time. Just one more bolt to go.
Yeah, wrong bolt. Today's truck ain't your daddy's truck. For repairs on today's vehicles, you need Amco Transmission and Total Car Care of Chattanooga on Lee Highway. Stay on the road, not in the garage. Amco Transmission on Lee Highway. Get it done the right way. The Thompson Pet way. Yeah, I just put that anywhere.
Join We've Got You Covered with Scott Schrader every Saturday from 10 to 11 on Nuga Radio. From finance to fixtures, we discuss everything you need to know about buying or owning a home, the pitfalls, the perks, and everything in between. Saturday mornings, 10 to 11, right here on Nuga Radio.
Nuga Radio, Chattanooga weather.
Areas of rain and thunder showers will continue for your afternoon. Some of the rain locally heavy with the threat of flooding pretty high for a while. Highs mid and upper 70s. Tonight, lingering showers and thunder showers, lows into the upper 60s. Showers and thunder showers slowly heading onto the east Thursday, drier Friday. Looking to buy or sell a home? Real Living Southern Realty provides real answers and customized marketing solutions. Serving the entire tri-state area, check rosouthernrealty.com for more. And I'm Soren Jean Twelve, Chief Meteorologist, Pastor 4.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Now, the smartest guy with a bow tie in Chattanooga, Tennessee, David Toulis.
David Toulis here. Near is better than far, small than big, simple than complex. And in the footnotes, trying to keep dry. We have a towel out to keep things legible, not all muzzied up with raindrops. We have this. Personal is better than corporate, physical than abstract. And the name is David Toulis, brought to you by Nuganomics.com, the website for the man or woman who matters. There seems to be a strong cross current in the news this morning. Now I say cross current because we are looking at roads that are awash with moving waters and standing waters as well. There's some flash flooding in the north part of the county, and according to WTVC Channel 9, News Channel 9, there has been a death in Saudi Daisy from connected possibly, a story says, by Kayla Strayer to the floodwaters that have come down from aloft. There's work being done at the moment by the Saudi Daisy Police Department, and there are two shelters that we want to mention to you that are being set up if you are in North County, Saudi Daisy and points nearby. Two temporary shelters that are helping people who are underwater right now in their houses. There's Oak Street Baptist Church, which is at 11340. That's 11340 North Oak Street in Saudi Daisy. If you live there, you probably know which church I'm talking about. Then also Daisy First Baptist Church. That's 10185 Dayton Pike. And again, these are two churches for people who have been flooded and are wanting to have a place not too far from their homes to stay. There are numerous closings, and the cross current is that while people are being sent away, others are being told that they can't leave, and that would be in Brainerd High School. I'm looking at the Times Free Press report on that. There are five students who have been hospitalized, and there is a lockdown. A lockdown at Brainerd High School, and parents are being told that they are not to come, according to the latest word that we have, not to come to pick up their children. And of course, those who are using the transportation system of the school, are not leaving either. And I'm not sure, we don't have the details on that, but there are people who are planning to not do things this evening. And Jason Kirk, do you have something for us?
Yeah, David, let me get all my paperwork together here.
This is David Toulis, and Boyd Buchanan School is closed. There will not be any. There is not any aftercare or after-school activities today. Dayton City Schools already closed. That is Dayton Pre-K and K were dismissed early today. First Centenary United Methodist Church. There is an evening event tonight, canceled, that is not going to be held, and no evening events at First Centenary United Methodist Church. Hamilton County Schools all shut down, and they're, except for Brainerd High School, parents have already gotten their children, or some are maybe en route there to get them to take home as well. Hickson First Baptist CDC not being held today. Notre Dame closed at 1:00, just when I began my show. Rehoboth Baptist Church closed today, and no evening activities tonight, Wednesday evening. The usual evening for after dinner worship by many Christians in Chattanooga area. Wednesday evening service is canceled.
Yeah, and also Hamilton County, as you've said, has opened up a couple of storm shelters for Oak Street Baptist Church and Saudi Daisy. And there's one opened up at the Saudi Daisy First Baptist, Dayton Pike. We're under a flash flood warning here in Hamilton County until 8:30 tonight. There's more rain following that's coming in. So we will be remaining, according to the Weather Service, in a flash flood warning until 8:30 tonight. There's a lot going on. There's roads that are closed, roads that are flooded. If you're listening and you're in North Hamilton County especially, stop. Go home, find somewhere safe. If you see a road right now that's flooded, don't cross it.
Why not? Why should you not cross it?
Well, the motto from the National Weather Service is turn around, don't drown. It doesn't take very much at all for a car to be swept away. And, right now our emergency service personnel are running left and right, back and forth. There's a lot going on in the county. So we just need to kind of just chill out as much as we can, go home, sit down, check on your family members, but do not get out in this if you can help.
No, that's don't go onto a road, even if it's one with which you're familiar, because you may be misgauging the depth. You may end up going out into that part and you think you're on the road. You may have a wheel that goes off. You may have your engine stalled, and who knows whether the waters will go higher still, or maybe they will recede. But you've got your car stuck there. This is David Toulis. Richard Hardy Memorial School closed early today. Sequoia Baptist Tabernacle services canceled today at Sequoia Baptist Tabernacle. Woodland Park usually has events in the evening, but not today due to weather.
Yeah, we've got just a lot. I'm just trying to keep up with all the updates coming in. But mainly the main thing that we really need to get out right now is the fact that if you're in Saudi Daisy area, Lakeside, Middle Valley, Sale Creek area, that's where all of the major event, the major flooding is going on at this moment. Remember, the Red Cross has those shelters opened up. Oak Street Baptist Church, 11340 North Oak Street. That's 11340 North Oak Street. And Saudi Daisy First Baptist Church at 10185 Dayton Pike. So those are open. If you need to get to a shelter for any reason, those are open now by the American Red Cross. Stay inside, though, if at all possible. Swift moving water or in roads and ditches. It doesn't take very much at all for it to sweep your car off. It doesn't take very much at all for it to sweep you away. And right now, we've already had one report of a possible incident where someone has now lost their life in this.
In Saudi Daisy, and we're looking at a report from, I think it's the Chattanooga Times Free Press about, no, this is TV9. It just says that, yeah,
there's a lot going on. Hamilton County schools are dismissed. The Brainerd still has an issue going on that there's been a press release that hasn't came to us yet. As soon as we get it, we'll pass that along to everybody. So there's a lot going on right now aside just rain, waters everywhere. Hamilton County's got the full EMA out. They're doing boat rescues. They're doing a lot right now. So again, the main important thing that we can stress here at New Radio is stay home. Don't get out. If you can use your cell phone to call a family member, if that's who you need to check on, use the cell phone and call them. Just don't get out of this if at all possible.
And we are here watching things happening. We've been mentioning city council, but feel at the moment it might be good to know these other details. CGLA and Chattanooga Prep are closed, having done so early, and ordinary activities this afternoon are also canceled. Dayton City Schools closed early as well. Grundy County Schools closed early at 1. That was about an hour ago now. Hickory Valley Christian Church tonight. There will not be regular services or activities at Hickory Valley Christian. Marion County Schools closed early. All gone there. If you haven't heard, Meigs County Schools shut down. Miles Strait Baptist. Now, normally it has a Wednesday evening service, but that is being canceled. Notre Dame High School closed early at 1. So if you have a child, a son or daughter there, you are no doubt planning to go there or have already left to make these special arrangements. Orange Grove Center delayed today. Business buses delayed for an hour at Orange Grove. Ray County Academy closing early, and Ray County Schools closed early as well. Richard Hardy Memorial School closing early. That was just around lunchtime. Ridgedale Baptist, no evening services or activities tonight. Silverdale Baptist closing early. St. Jude School, same as well. No after-school care today at St. Jude. Stewart Heights Baptist Church, no evening services or activities at Stewart Heights. No, usually there's a dinner that's been saved for next week. Okay, Berrien Academy will be closing early, and that's at 3:30. So the Berrien Academy is still holding on amid the torrent this afternoon, but there will not be after school childcare. And also, Berrien Baptist Church is closed today. There will not be at Berrien or Berean Baptist Church activities this evening due to road closures and flooding.
Right. Also, just read Highway 111. There's a sinkhole that's just formed on Highway 111. Trying to get more details, but it is up in the Soddy Daisy area. So that just came in. Russell Stroud will be here in a little bit to help us with the news here. We were not prepared to have to do this right now. We were just assuming it was just going to be a small flooding event. We didn't know it was going to be life-threatening like it is now.
And this is David Toulis. I'm glad you're tuning in to our wonderful radio station. We are the Sean Hannity Station, CBS News, with a very, very lively and twaddle-free morning newscast that starts at 6 o'clock. And this is David Toulis. What's on your mind? Russell.
Still out and about, David.
Hey, Mike.
You know, the Hamilton County schools, of course, closed early. We're speculating as to whether or not there will even be school tomorrow, as this rain is going to continue tonight, tomorrow, maybe into Friday. We're not quite sure yet, but we do have our crack meteorologist, Patrick Core, working on that right now. So you want to stick to Nuga Radio, 92.7, 95.3 HD4, and all over the internet, including Facebook and Twitter, for the latest updates. We're going to keep you informed minute by minute on closings, delays, and the weather. Russell Stroud will be taking David Toulis' place with David on the side as the news director as we cover this in several minutes. Now, if you have any reports of flooding, please do call the radio station or text us, tweet us on Twitter, text us, email us at gugaradio@gmail.com, or give us the information on our Facebook page, because you report and the world decides. If there's flooding near your house, if you went through standing water, if you had anything to report on the scene, our reporters are on the scene, but you're one of the biggest pieces of this puzzle. Please do let us know so we can share that with everyone. Broadcasting live from the scene, from the floodwaters in Harrison here, David, as the water continues to rise on the road. Mike Steele.
Thank you, Mike. This is David Toulis. We're just checking with the Chattanooga Times Free Press, and it has put an update out about the students, and there are two parts. That there are 5 students who were made ill today. They are in stable condition, and the word is from the school administration that students may now be picked up. They may now be picked up. There has been a kind of a lockdown, as it's called, of sort of against them. No one was able to leave, but that decision has been reversed. And now moms and dads and significant others, aunts and uncles, and those in charge, caregivers can come and get their, well, not caregivers in high school, but they can come to get their offspring and young people at Brainerd High School.
And just checking back in, again, don't forget the shelters that are open. Saudi Daisy's put this out. Shelters are open on Oak Street Baptist Church. That's North Oak Street. Sorry, I can speak today. And also Saudi Daisy. I cannot speak today, save my life. Saudi Daisy First Baptist Church on Dayton Pike. So those 2 shelters are open. If you need to use those shelters, they're there for you. The American Red Cross is there to help out. Also, too, we had a piece of paper that came out that said Highway 58 had one of the shelters open, or not a shelter, but maybe the command center was open at the fire station on Highway 58. This is a life-threatening issue, my friends. So if you guys can, if you're home, if you're out and about, get to a safe spot, stay there. Stay in your house. Do not get out in this. Right now, EMS and our emergency personnel are stretched dealing with flooding. There's I've been reading here on HC 911, there's a bunch of rescues going on, stuff like that, people being stranded in vehicles. Don't get out. Stay at home. That's the thing that we can stress to you right now. We're still under the flood warning now until 8:30 tonight, according to the National Weather Service out of Morristown. So just keep that in mind. The water's not done, all because it stopped raining right now at this moment in your area. There's more coming. And then too, you've got the runoff that will cause other issues later on this afternoon.
The Hamilton County Emergency Management Service has a command post opened at Dallas Bay, Volunteer Fire Department Station number 2, and it is there to support the management, if you will, of those who are putting up road blockades and checking on people who are near water or whose houses are at the foot of which are already being stroked by inrushing water and creeks. The shelter locations that are open are at North County, Oak Street Baptist Church at 11340 North Oak in Saudi Daisy, and then also Saudi Daisy First Baptist. Saudi Daisy First Baptist. They're on the hill there by the Food City at 10185 Dayton Pike. That's right there at the main intersection. So there are people ready to welcome you if you are in some distress by having a house maybe partly underwater. Today, the name is David Toulis, and we're glad you're tuning into our station. The David Toulis Show has been looking at Chattanooga City Council, and we want to keep you abreast. And
a lot more.
What else do we have, Jason?
Just remember though, flash flood warning, it means water is here. It's imminent. Here's some facts about flash flooding. 6 inches of swiftly flowing water can knock a person over. 2 feet of water will make most vehicles float. And flooding is the #1 cause of death associated with thunderstorms or any rain event like this. More than 140 fatalities per year. What you should know, though, is the flash flood warning means flooding is occurring or is imminent in the specified area. Move to higher ground immediately. Serious flooding can occur, like we've had today with the heavy rainfall events. And residents in low-lying areas, you should take place or be leaving immediately, especially if you know your area is prone to flooding. The shelters are still open. They'll remain open as long as they're in need. Those are out in Saudi. But there's a lot going on. HC 911 shows a lot of flooding right now around the Dolly Pond Road area. The wires down over and the Thatch Road area, all out in north part of the county. So just be cautious. If you're out and about, you can go home. If you don't have a real reason to be out, go home. Family members, you can check on them by the phone. If they don't need your assistance, please. The main thing in this whole event is stay home. Do not be on the road right now. That way, EMS personnel, fire, police can get where they need to go and be able to take care of those people.
Well, let's mention also some things that if you're traveling in a car or truck, you might have forgotten. If you are going through any kind of puddles, might that affect braking distances?
Right, it will. Anytime
and why?
Well, I wish I knew the exact answer to that. But anytime you've got water down like that, any kind of moisture on the road, it does have an issue with the tread depth, and also to the amount of tread that actually gets down to the road. So that water will stop.
Right, and if your brakes are wet, maybe not all brakes are affected by heavy water under the car. But if you go through a heavy bit of standing water, you may have loss of braking power.
Mm-hmm.
So just tap your brakes when you go through a heavy mass of water, just to make sure that you can halt quickly if need be.
If your brakes are wet, it will take you a long time to stop. So do less than the speed limit right now. Looking at the Nuga Traffic Center, Interstate 24, are coming up around the Rich Cut as usual. It's in a it's at a very slow move. Interstate 24 between, looks like Brainerd Road and the East Ridge exit there, 184 is heavy traffic in that area. So try to avoid that too if all possible. Out toward Saudi Daisy, just looking at the State Route 111 southbound, looks like a pothole has been reported, or sinkhole, not a pothole, but a sinkhole has been reported by Tennessee Highway Patrol coming off of the mountain there back down into Saudi. So the main thing in this event, like we've been saying, is if you don't have to be out, don't get out, stay home, stay in your house, stay in cover, take care of what you need to take care of at home. If you're in a low-lying area, that floods easily, leave. Get out the best you can. So that way, you don't have hopefully any issues. Looking at the radar, we've still got more rain coming. This little event is dying down a little bit, but there's still more coming out of the Huntsville area. We've got more coming south of us from Birmingham, out in the west or the middle Tennessee area. So this isn't over by any means. That's why the National Weather Service has kept this flash flood warning in effect until 8:30.
We're talking with Jason Kirk, and this is David Toulis. Thank you for tuning in. We are wanting to remind you of some of the other basics. Have your lights on if you are traveling by car or truck. Make sure if you do have to go somewhere and there is just a necessity to leave, either a place of business or home, that you give yourself some extra travel time. You may have to take a way around a familiar route if that's if you are in your car. And of course, have your lights on in your car as well. Don't go about without your peepers on. And if you have a breakdown, what do you propose, Jason? You think that if you have a breakdown, it's good to raise your hood to say I'm broken down, or is that
if you have a breakdown right now? The main thing would be just keep your flashers on.
Keep your flasher down. And the suggestion is that the bonnet, as the English call it, have the bonnet down, because if you have it open and it's raining intensely, you may mess up your electric, and maybe the car might be harder to start. So take it to us, 92.7 FM. Keep it here. We'll keep you up to date on the changing circumstances with bad weather, inclement weather, as they say here in Hamilton County. Storm, flooded streets. David Toulis, Nuga Radio.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
22-year-old Austin Clemens was hospitalized after shots were fired into a home on Fraser Circle. Chattanooga police asked for the public's help in gathering information. If you saw what happened, give them a call. A new trial for Anjali Moore, the man found guilty of murder, was denied. Moore said at a recent hearing that he only confessed to the crime because he was beaten by a Chattanooga police detective and was held for over 13 hours in handcuffs. His attorney also noted that phone records proved he was not at the murder scene. Despite this, Judge Poole wrote in his opinion that he did not find grounds for a new trial. And John Smith, the man accused in the deadly Grundy County shooting, was transferred from the hospital to the county jail. He's accused of killing his ex-wife and wounding 2 others before he himself was taken down by return fire. Deputies say the murder happened in front of their children. Val St. John for Nuga Radio, News Talk 92.7, Action News now.
Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 p.m. on Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nuga Radio 92.7. Nuga Radio, Chattanooga weather.
Areas of rain and thunder showers will continue for your afternoon. Some of the rain locally heavy with the threat of flooding pretty high for a while, highs mid and upper 70s. Tonight, lingering showers and thunder showers, lows into the upper 60s. Showers and thunder showers slowly heading on to the east Thursday, drier Friday. Looking to buy or sell a home? Real Living Southern Realty provides real answers and customized marketing solutions. Serving the entire tri-state area, check rosouthernrealty.com for more. And I'm Soren Jean 12, Chief Meteorologist, Pastor 4.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
My ex recently hacked my email and my social media, and it really caused me some problems. I changed all my passwords, which helped, but I'm still getting trolled, maybe even stalked. I know it's him. I just can't prove it.
My business, well, it's been broken into twice already. I've got cameras, but that only helps after the fact. I'd rather prevent it from happening in the first place.
Unity One East is your solution to these and many other security concerns. With private investigation, security services, and backed by decades of real-life experience in military and law enforcement, Unity One East is your instant contact for security, investigation, and consultation to help protect you, your family, and your business. No 1-800 number, no red tape, no wait, because Unity One East is local and available 24/7. Reclaim your peace of mind. Call Unity One East, 475-6206, 475-6206.
Call 423-875-3600 if you're looking to expand your professional look of your business. Then consider the vast opportunities that are available when you locate your office with the Rains Group family. Remember, it's location, location, location. And the Rains Group has the location for your professional office. Check out the spaces for lease at Executive Business Park on the Lee Highway. Small or large, we will be able to suit your needs with the Rains Group. Call 423-875-3600 for the business professionals with the Rains Group.
Nuga Radio.
Are you brain dead? Still voting for pathetic liberals? Take 3 hours with Sean Hannity from 3 to 6.
Nuga Radio.
Then call us in the morning between 9 and 11.
92.7.
Nuga Radio. WPLZ HD4 Ottawa, W224AZ Chattanooga.
Serving Chattanooga.
Broadcasting live from the center of the universe, the Tennessee Valley's most listened to news talk station.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by ZipRecruiter.
I'm Jim Chenevey. New sex-related allegations against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh from a woman represented by Michael Avenatti, the same lawyer who represents Stormy Daniels, and her allegations against President Trump. The president called Avenatti a third-rate lawyer who is good at making false accusations.
I'm Stephen Portnoy in New York, where before he chaired a UN Security Council meeting, the president said he wished Republicans had acted sooner to confirm Kavanaugh.
They could have pushed it through 2.5 weeks ago, and you wouldn't be talking about it right now, which is frankly what I would have preferred.
Those remarks came before Michael Avenatti released the affidavit from Kavanaugh's latest accuser. Mr. Trump has cast doubts on the stories of Christine Blasey Ford and Deborah Ramirez and called their charges part of a Democratic con job.
Kavanaugh called these latest allegations out of the twilight zone. Iran's President Hassan Rouhani is predicting the U.S. will eventually rejoin that international nuclear deal brokered in part by President Obama. But President Trump had a different message for the UN today.
I ask all members of the Security Council to work with the United States to ensure the Iranian regime changes its behavior and never acquires a nuclear bomb.
The president also promised the UN some good news on North Korea in the weeks and months ahead. His Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, is headed to Pyongyang next month to set the stage for a second Trump-Kim summit.
The messages that we've been receiving from Chairman Kim have been very consistent. They are that he is intent on denuclearizing. He understands that. He understands the scope of that and what that means. He's been very consistent in his commitment to delivering on that promise. We need to find our way forward to achieve that for the world.
The Federal Reserve wraps up 2 days of meetings today. It's expected to move interest rates higher by a quarter point. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
Well, if you've got an adjustable rate mortgage or a home equity line of credit or a home equity loan, these are often linked to those short-term interest rates that the Fed controls. And so the rate hike will impact the payment either immediately, depending on the type of loan, or when the loan next adjusts.
And the Fed has just raised that rate a quarter point and anticipates 3 more rate hikes yet this year. Rivers continue to rise in South Carolina, and flooding has forced some new evacuations. Governor Henry McMaster.
This is unprecedented, and we are still in full battle
mowed in Georgetown County, in Horry County. The water has not yet crested in Conway, has certainly not crested in Socastee, has not crested in Georgetown. So we're still fighting.
On Wall Street, the Dow is now up 89 points. This is CBS News.
ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. ZipRecruiter's technology finds qualified candidates for businesses of all sizes. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free.
I used to post to job boards,
only to sort through tons of resumes,
just to find a few candidates for
my sales team,
my hair salons.
That old process was not smart.
Then I went to ZipRecruiter.
Its technology scans resumes for me to find the right people
and actively invites them to apply.
So I get qualified candidates fast. Smart.
See why ZipRecruiter is rated #1 by employers in the U.S. Try it now for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Based on Trustpilot rating of hiring sites with over 1,000 reviews.
ABC Tonight. It's the series premiere of the new comedy, Single Parents.
We just try and survive until a time in the day when it's appropriate to open wine.
It's being called hilarious with a talented ensemble.
They're my village.
Easily the funniest new sitcom of the fall.
You heard him.
Starring Leighton Meester, Taryn Killam, Kimberly Lewis, Jake Chor, and Brad Garrett.
Bye, girls. Remember, I love one of you slightly more than the other. That helps keep them on their toes.
The series premiere of Single Parents, tonight after Modern Family on ABC.
Federal health officials are concerned about a significant increase in the number of babies born with syphilis.
The CDC's Virginia Bowen says the agency already recommends testing for pregnant women, but
we're now at a point, though, where we're ready to say that getting tested once during pregnancy may not be enough to avoid tragic outcomes.
the number of cases, 918 last year alone, has more than doubled since 2013, when there were 362 cases. The cases of the disease occurred in 37 states, mostly in the South and in the West. Allison Keyes, CBS News.
It marked the beginnings of what is now Apple, the Apple I computer, which was actually nothing more than a circuit board, but only 200 were produced in the 1970s and only around 60 remain today. They originally cost less than $700, but one was gobbled off by Boston-based RR Auctions this week for $375,000. Jim Chenevy, CBS News.
A good night's sleep starts with the right pillow. That's where MyPillow comes in, and we're excited to announce the new 4-pack special. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the 4-pack special tab, and save 50% off the 4-pack, which includes 2 MyPillow premiums and 2 Go Anywhere pillows. Call 1-800-266-4719. That's 1-800-266-4719.
This is Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7. We're looking at the flood situation here in Chattanooga, which is continuing to get worse as time goes by. I-75 northbound, the 2475 split actually doesn't look to be too terribly bad right now. I think that's because a lot of people are playing it smart and staying home, which is exactly what you should do if you can. I-75 northbound, the 2475 split is looking to be, for the most part, all right now, but we do have some pretty major flood areas here in Chattanooga. One most notable one is the Dallas Bay area, where we've got reports of major flooding. The Dallas Bay Volunteer Fire Department has been on scene taking care of some of this flood situation. They've been blocking off roads. Hamilton County Emergency Management Agency opened up a command post at the Dallas Bay Volunteer Fire Department Station 2 in support of the flooding and rescue efforts in the Dallas Bay Soddy Daisy area. The American Red Cross says that several homes in Depot Street have been flooded and residents had to evacuate there. Red Cross has 2 shelters open. Number 1 is Oak Street Baptist Church, North Oak Street in Soddy Daisy, Tennessee. And we got the Daisy First Baptist Church on Dayton Pike in Soddy Daisy, which is also open. We've also gotten, unfortunately, word of at least 1 casualty. 1 person reported dead in Soddy Daisy. We got several Facebook reports of this. 1 person apparently died. Floodwaters blasted through Soddy Daisy on Wednesday morning. The Soddy Daisy police captain Jeff Gann reported, saying that the death was believed to be a drowning directly related to the flooding. It's a word of warning to everyone. Make sure if you are in an area where you can tell the water is rising, just get out of there. Personal possessions are only material. Your life is worth a lot more. Make sure you leave an area if it does appear to be flooding. Just get out of there. There's no shame in that, and leave your personal belongings behind. Get what you can and get out of there if it appears that the floodwaters are getting to be too dangerous, which brings us back to the old adage, which is turn around and don't drown. That's something we all need to remember. Turn around, don't drown, and drive a little bit slower than you normally would. Drive a little bit under the speed limit. We've seen a lot of people going really way too fast, honestly, myself included, coming in here, driving a little bit too fast. let's curb that a little bit and we can keep fatalities down. I'm looking at I-24 here in Rossville Boulevard, heading towards the downtown area. I-24 Rossville Boulevard, we are seeing some pretty serious slowdowns there heading towards the city. We have the morning rush hour coming up. We have schools that have let out early. Jason, what do you have for us?
Well, right now, remember, the National Weather Service has us under a flash flood warning until 8:30. That's a flash flood warning for Hamilton County until 8:30 tonight. Looking at the weather radar, we do have storms moving in still from Middle Tennessee, also out of Alabama, moving this way. Jackson County, Alabama has quite a few storms moving this way to Scottsboro, that area. Closings updated. As you know, Hamilton County schools closed earlier today. There's a lot of closings going on now. Just starting at some of these here, just looking at the list. Ridgeview Baptist Church, Chattanooga, closed today. No services tonight. Bledsoe County schools closing at 1 o'clock. Boyd Buchanan schools, they closed at 12:30. Dayton City schools closed at 12:45. East Brainerd Church of Christ, no evening activities. First United Methodist Church, evening canceled. Grundy County schools closed at 1. Hampton County closed today. Brainerd School was on lockdown, but that has now been taken care of. They're off of that lockdown. So if you're a parent and could not get there to get your child, it's now time to go get them. Hickory Valley Christian Church, no evening activities. Hickson First Baptist Church closed. Notre Dame closed at 1. Marion County schools, they closed at 12:30 Central, or I'm sorry, 11:30 Central, 12:30 Eastern. Ray County is out. Ray County Academy is out. Sequoia Baptist Tabernacle, Silverdale Baptist Academy, Sail Creek First Baptist. All these have no activities for tonight. So if you're going to church tonight, they're not doing any kind of activities. So just kind of stay home, stay out of the rain, and stay out of the water.
And following with that lockdown situation, all 5 students at Brainerd High School are reportedly in stable condition. It was placed on a lockdown because of an unknown outside illness. That's what they called it this morning at around 11:30. They had a press conference at 1:15 where they cleared up some of the details. Reportedly, students can now be picked up from Brainerd High School. It was placed on lockdown. Hamilton County schools let out at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, way early. Considering when they normally let out, it was way, way early, and parents were not given very much advance notice. It was about an hour notice they were given to go pick up their kids. Then they got the word that Brainerd High was on lockdown because of an unknown outside illness. We got several kids who are hospitalized, now reportedly in stable condition. Emergency management workers were on scene working with some of the children there at Brainerd High, and we're still not exactly sure what that illness was. It was placed on lockdown, which has now been lifted, so you can go and pick up your children now if you need to. David, what do you have for us?
There is a death in Saudi Desi. A woman was caught up in the floodwaters. The story is at Chattanooga.com. Alan Lewis, who runs Lewis Tree Service, said that he and a man named Raymond McKeel went to Saudi Masonic Lodge to check on the building, and it was a lot of water there. Alan said it was terrible. They saw an older woman who was out with her small dog, and she was floating on her back in a rushing stream that had formed in the roadway. So he and Mr. Keel waded out to try to help this woman as she reached a chain link fence. The story says that a young man on the other side of the road also got in to help. He said that he got on the phone with 911, drove his large truck as close as he could to the fence, and they held the woman up as long as they could for about 8 to 10 minutes, but the water got higher and higher and harder, and they became exhausted, they said, and could no longer hold her. And so she went on down in the current. Mr. McKeel scratched and bruised and so exhausted that he was almost going under himself, he said, but he dragged himself out of the water. But the lady, Mr. Lewis says, we lost her.
I'm looking at the traffic now. I-24 Rossville Boulevard going towards the city. Thank you, David. 24 at Rossville Boulevard heading towards the city. We do still have some delays there in that area. It looks like traffic is backed up for quite a ways. I want to put out a warning to you, too, is to make sure you slow down if you're heading out to pick up your children or just to do your normal shopping, which I would avoid, by the way. I would avoid going outside if you can, at least for the rest of the evening. Tomorrow morning may be a little bit different, but right now we got some serious flooding. We got reports of major flooding in the area of North Shore and Hickson. We got some slowdowns there traffic-wise as well. Heading southbound into Chattanooga, you're going to see some pretty serious delays. Interestingly enough, 75 of the 24 split actually doesn't look to be that bad. We have gotten reports of wires down, however, that just came in on Ox Highway at St. Elmo Avenue. Wires down there. Car crash with entrapment, so someone's stuck in a car. Boy Scout Road at Sandswitch Road, it's possible, because this is in the Dallas Bay area, it's possible that that's a car stuck in floodwaters, and that we've gotten quite a few calls of that. Reports say that there is a Boy Scout Road crash. We're continuing to follow that situation, and we'll give you more updates as soon as we can. Jason, what do you have for us now?
Well, look, expanding on that, Russell, there's a water rescue actually just came in from Boy Scout Road, Echo Glen Drive. So more than likely, that's what that NBC issue is. It's an actual water rescue. We've got more closing that just came in. I can get the computer to play here. We just had more closes came in. Bradley County still open. That's still there for some reason. Tonight's activities, some of the churches that are going to be closed. We've got First Calvary Baptist, they're going to be closed. No Wednesday services. First Baptist Golden Gateway, no Wednesday services. Dallas Bay Baptist, no Wednesday services and no volunteer dinner. Moving down the line, Miles Strait Baptist, no Wednesday. Lupton Drive Baptist, no Wednesday services. Hickson First Baptist, no services tonight. One Accord Community Church, no Wednesday services. Parkway Baptist Church, no Wednesday. Red Bank Church of Christ, Ridgedale Baptist Church, Ridgeview Baptist Church of Chattanooga, all closed. No services tonight. Suck Creek is also Baptist. Their First Baptist is no services. Sequoia Baptist Tabernacle, no services tonight. White Oak Baptist. Down in Georgia, there's a few things that are coming in. Battlefield Baptist, no Wednesday services. And that's really it right now for that part.
I just saw Abba's House is not having any PM services either. That's one of the big churches there in the Saudi Daisy area. So Abba's House, no PM services. Of course, Wednesday is a kind of a big day for a lot of the people, churchgoers here in Chattanooga. Wednesday is a very big day. All 5 students reported in stable condition from that lockdown at 5 Brainerd students reported in stable condition now after that lockdown in Brainerd High. Still getting details on that story. It's still developing. Apparently, 5 Brainerd High School students were treated at an area hospital as emergency personnel investigated what they're calling a sickness at the school, which we got reports earlier apparently came from an outside source. What that is, they're not exactly sure, but 3 canine units were at the school helping with the investigation, sniffing out to find out what exactly that was at the school. All Hamilton County schools, of course, closed immediately after we got word of the flood warning. School care is canceled. After school care is canceled, but employees will take care of children until they can be picked up by parents. Please do that as soon as you can. Heavy flooding, especially in the northern part of the county around schools, expected to be a bigger problem later on today. In fact, right about now. And the biggest issues around schools are in the Saudi Daisy area. In fact, Dallas Bay, we've had some really serious problems there with both flooding and with just people getting entrapped in their cars, car crashes. We got houses flooded. We saw pictures on social media not too long ago of a house almost completely underwater. In the Chickamauga area, we saw reports in Chickamauga of water flood levels getting all the way up to park benches. That's how serious things have gotten in the area of Chickamauga. So remember, that's a low-lying area too. If you're in a low-lying area, make sure you evacuate. There's no shame in leaving. Just go on a shopping trip, go to the mall. There's no shame in that. Leave your personal belongings behind. Don't worry about those. What matters is your life, your kids' lives, your family's lives. Get out of that situation if at all possible. We got a call coming in over the line, hopefully a field report. Let's see what we got. Caller, you're on the air.
Yeah, this is Patrick War. How you doing?
Very good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Just wanted to kind of give you a little update on the conditions and the weather and the radar and things like that. As it's been very wet. Obviously, we've seen several inches of rain, and basically the seed of this flooding was kind of sown a couple of days ago with the 2, 3, 4 inches of rain that we had over Hamilton County Monday, and then we had some aggravating rains yesterday and today. Obviously, the tributaries just couldn't take anything, and when you had rain falling at the rate that we had, that's the reason why we had a good bit of the flooding that we are currently seeing. I guess the good news is that the radar is showing most of the heavier rains now starting to ease on to the east. So as we head into the next 2 or 3 hours, we'll see the rain lighten up. So that's some good news.
Can you give me a time frame as to when that would be? We're going to see that rain lightening up?
Yeah, probably in the next 30 or 40 minutes. It's still heavy in some areas, especially some of our viewers and listeners to the east are still seeing some heavier pockets of rain. But you get over into Walden's Ridge and parts of the Sequatchie Valley and a plateau, and the rain has really lightened up. Everything's still kind of coming basically from southwest to northeast, but the whole general area or train of rain is now starting to set up to our east. So I anticipate that to continue through the evening hours. And so, yeah, we may see a little rain, but it's going to be a lot spottier and a lot lighter as we head into the next 3, 4, 5 hours. So I think the worst of the rain is over, but we still have some flooding to deal with because the rain, the water from what we've seen the last several hours, still going to have a hard time finding drainage, at least for the next few hours.
Okay. Thank you, Patrick. Do call us back within the hour if you have any more updates for us, would you?
All right. Hey, take care. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you. You too. That was Patrick Core from Channel 12 WDEF. He called in to give us an update on the weather situation. Jason, what do you have for us?
Got more closings. River Edge Baptist Church, closed today. There will be no services tonight. As you said earlier, Abba's house, no evening activities whatsoever. Bremen Academy, no school outside. Where in the world's that coming from?
Keep going.
Chattanooga Girls Leadership Academy, closed today, nothing this afternoon. Dayton City schools are closed. And too, Russell, I expect maybe some of these schools may be closed tomorrow as well. As we get that information, we'll pass that along. As soon as we know anything that comes along, we'll pass that to everybody. Hampton County Schools did close early today. Brainerd, you can now pick up your children if they were in the lockdown situation. Hickory Valley Christian Church, no evening activities. Hickson First Baptist Church closed this afternoon. Ray County Schools closed at 1, so that's over with now. Ridgedale Baptist Church, they closed as well early. Grace Baptist Church in Dayton, there's no activities this afternoon at all. Dallas Bay Baptist, no activities. Central Church of Christ, Brainerd Presbyterian, Lupton Drive Baptist, Hickson First Baptist, Mile Straight Baptist, One Accord Community Church, Parkway Baptist, Red Bank Church of Christ, Ridgedale Baptist Church, Sale Creek First Baptist, Sequoia First Baptist Tabernacle, Stewart Heights Baptist Church, Wygoat Baptist, Woodland Park Baptist are all telling us there's nothing going on this afternoon service-wise.
And Hamilton County Schools on Twitter, their their last update was 2 hours ago. All after-school activities, games, and practices for Hamilton County Schools are canceled today due to flooding in the area. Now, according to their Twitter account, we've got nothing for tomorrow, interestingly enough. No updates from them about what's going on tomorrow. But, David, what do you have for us?
On Hickson Pike and Sawney Daisy, near the bridge that leads to Armstrong Road and a large area of homes and the curvy road, there is a small mudslide reported by the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department. That's a small mudslide on Hickson Pike near Armstrong Road. And there is also a report of a death in Saudi Daisy. A woman who was leaving her house because water was rising in it, was caught up in heavy currents that flashed by and lost her footing, and was seen floating down in the current by a man who runs a tree business, Alan Lewis, the Lewis Tree Service, and Mr. Lewis and another man, Raymond McKeel, and a third man went after her to try to get her. And at some point, she had her body, she was on her back, floating through this water. Her dog had lost track of her dog. Got caught near a fence, and they went out to try to get her. And Alan drove his logging truck as close as he could to get her, and they held on to her for some 8 to 10 minutes, according to Chattanooga.com. But then the water got higher. They were exhausted, and they couldn't hold on to her any longer. And so she got away from them, and her body has been recovered, Mr. Lewis said. But the lady, we lost her. They were able to drag themselves out of a very strong current, very high on their bodies. And so there's one death attributed directly to the water, Russell.
And I'm looking at the traffic here, I-24 Rossville Boulevard. Heavy rains are still coming in here, but it looks like they are starting to lighten up in some areas. Now, that's kind of the problem with this train of storms, like Patrick Core called it. The problem is that it's sort of spotty. We get it, and then it goes away. Then we get it again. We got heavy rain still coming through. Fortunately, as Patrick pointed out, that rain should be stopping in the next 30 to 40 minutes, and that's certainly good news. Also good news is that Hamilton County Schools have let out, and that's definitely something we want to hear with this rain being the way that it is. The last update we got from Hamilton County Schools was on their Twitter account 2 hours ago. All after-school activities, games, practices for Hamilton County Schools are canceled today due to flooding in the area, and due to flooding and rain expected during the afternoon. Schools are closing with students eligible to be picked up immediately. There was one exception to that, which was Brainerd High, because they were on lockdown due to a situation with a medical emergency. 5 students had to be hospitalized due to an unknown reason, at least unknown to the public right now. Hamilton County Emergency Services had to take 5 students to the hospital due to what they're calling an outside illness. 5 of those Brainerd High students treated at an area hospital. They are reportedly in stable condition. 3 canine units called out to sort out the situation, to sniff out what happened and try to figure out what that outside illness was. But that is now not under lockdown. You can pick up your kids from Brainerd High. That lockdown situation is fortunately now over. We got a report of wires down on Worley Road at Brushfire Trail. Wires down. 2 agencies responding, the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office and the Mowbray Mountain VFD. I'd like to also give a shout out to all the volunteer fire departments out there, which have been doing an excellent job this morning. Highway 58 VFD, Mowbray Mountain VFD, Dallas Bay VFD, that all been working overtime trying to keep us safe out there. Chattanooga Police Department, car crash, no injuries, just reported Ox Highway, Sanders Road. And Jason, what do you have for us here?
Remember, the flash flood warning remains in effect until 8:30 p.m. for Hamilton County. We did have a lot of rain that's fell over the past few days, as Patrick Horse said there when he, on the update he just gave us. So just be cautious of that. Flash flood warning again until 8:30 tonight. More closings that came in. First Cemetery United Methodist Church. All of their activities are closed this afternoon. And that is the last update I've got there.
Okay, we're continuing to follow the situation with the kids at school. Apparently 5 children were hospitalized, and we unfortunately do not know why exactly. That's just the stark truth of it. 5 students reported in stable condition after what they're calling an unknown outside illness. They held a press conference at 1:15 at the Brainerd Recreation Center, but unfortunately did not really update the situation very much. They just said that students could be picked up. The students were treated at an area hospital as emergency personnel investigated the sicknesses at the school. Hamilton County School spokesman Tim Hensley told the TFP, now we expect to hear more information later on. Now, because these are students, because they're under the age of 18, details are going to be limited. We're not going to know who they are, and we may not know exact details of what sickened them, but hopefully we'll find out more information here soon, possibly tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow, we do not have any update from Hamilton County Schools as to what they're going to be doing tomorrow, if anything. Floodwaters may still be a hazard tomorrow. They're going to make a decision on that hopefully soon as to what they're going to do about school tomorrow. Are they going to let in late? Are they going to let out early? Are they going to cancel school altogether for Hamilton County? That is something that has not been answered yet. We hope to get more answers here soon. David, what do you have for us?
Well, just the death of an elderly woman who fled her house because of water rising within it. The report is in Chattanooga.com. And it tells of 3 men who tried to rescue her. She was on her back in water. She had lost her balance in swiftly moving current. And 3 men saw her, including Alan Lewis, who runs Lewis Tree Service, and another man named Raymond McKeel, according to Chattanooga.com. They went to Saudi Masonic Lodge to check on the building. Alan said they drove to the top of the hill at Back Valley Road and School Street around 10:30 a.m. A lot of water, terrible. Then they saw this older person who was out with a small dog floating on her back, being rushed along a stream that had formed in a roadway. And they waded out to try to help her. As she reached a chain link fence, there was a young man on the other side of the road who also got in the swiftly moving waters, which is, of course, a very dangerous thing to do to yourself. But here they thought not so much of their own skins, but the prospect of helping this person. They got on the phone with 911. Alan got in his truck, drove as close as he could to the fence, and they held on to her for about 10 minutes. But then the water rose and they were just exhausted. They couldn't hold her any longer. So she went, she got away. She was evidently still alive, but at some point they couldn't hold on to her. And then they found later her body in Saudi Daisy. So the storms today in North County, strongly in North County, have taken 1 life directly from water, from drowning.
And the unfortunate side of that is that that was someone trying to get out of their home to escape the flood water, which is something that I would recommend doing if you can, but do it safely. Hamilton County Emergency Management opened up a command post at the Dallas Bay Volunteer Fire Department Station 2 to support flooding rescue efforts in Dallas Bay and Saudi Daisy, which have been particularly hard hit by these flood waters. American Red Cross says several homes in the Depot Street area have been flooded and residents had to evacuate. Red Cross has 2 shelters open. One of them is on Oak Street at the Baptist Church, Oak Street Baptist Church on North Oak Street, Saudi Daisy. Saudi Daisy, First Baptist Church on Dayton Pike in Saudi Daisy. So those are 2 areas where you can go to if you feel the need to evacuate. And please do not hesitate to evacuate if you feel the need to. There's no shame in that. Escaping your home is something that you should definitely consider if you feel that the floodwaters are getting to be too dangerous. There are a lot of houses which are in low-lying areas, and that's certainly a cause for concern. All Hamilton County schools closed early, and they closed immediately after the threat of flooding was revealed. We were under a flash flood warning, I believe, and that caused some serious concerns, and so they let out quite a bit earlier than they normally would at 12 o'clock. However, one school did not let out as early as the others, and that was Brainerd High. where 5 students were reportedly hospitalized after what they're calling an unknown outside illness. Emergency personnel treated as sickness at the school. Hamilton County School spokesman Tim Hensley revealed that dozens of emergency responders were on scene trying to help out with the investigation. They had canine units there sniffing out to find out what that illness was exactly. They held a press conference at 1:15. We got reports saying that the student's condition is not life-threatening, and students are believed to have ingested a substance. According to investigators, this is just now coming out from the TFP, ingesting a substance. They do not know what the substance was. Canine units brought in to do a sweep of halls, rooms, and backpacks. 5 students hospitalized after ingesting what they're calling a substance. This could not come at worse timing considering the flooding that occurred. So the school is on lockdown at 12 o'clock, which is when the rest of Hamilton County schools were being let out. They were bringing parents in to take their kids away. Now, school staff were staying with kids who were on the lockdown so that they could be attended while police could search the area, and parents are on the way to pick them up. And that lockdown has now been lifted, but the children reportedly ingested what they're calling a substance. What that was, we don't know yet. A message told parents that no one was in immediate danger. We hope to find out what exactly that substance was, and we'll let you know as soon as we know.
Tennessee Highway Patrol has a little more detail on the sinkhole. Highway 111 South near the bottom of the mountain, close to Saudi Daisy, and there's another sinkhole that's forming. So avoid that area at all risk. Tennessee Highway Patrol has actually closed down that area right now at the 111 bottom of the mountain towards Saudi because a couple of sinkholes are forming. Also, too, earlier, Hamilton County rescue teams rescued a family at Igu Gap. Rescued a man and woman and their animals from their car on Igu Gap because of driving through flooding. We've got some more closing information that just came in. Dallas Bay Baptist, no Wednesday service, no volunteer dinner tonight. Abba's house, as we know, closed. So we have a lot of Wednesday activities actually are just not going to be planned, especially probably church-wise. And it's just going to be a general idea, good idea anyway, since we do have that flash flood warning until 8:30, just to stay at home. That would be that's from the National Weather Service. And remember, water doesn't take very much at all to move you, to move your car. If you're walking, it just takes just 2 feet of water to create all sorts of havoc for you or your vehicle. So if it's flooding, don't go through it. As the adage is, turn around, don't drown. Russell?
Right, turn around, don't drown. It's something we should all remember. We just got a report of a missing or endangered person on Spring Street near Harper Street. Hopefully that's not related to the flooding. Theft reported Hamilton Place Boulevard at Bams Drive. So it just goes to show you that regular crime is still ongoing while we're in this state of, we'll call it crisis quite, but in a state of light emergency. Wires down on Worley Road at Brushfire Trail. The police and volunteer fire department are on the scene right now. That wires down call. We got a report of a disorder with a weapon involved on Shorttail Springs Road at the Tenderfoot Trail as well. I want to remind you, Hamilton County Emergency Management Agency opened up a command post at the Dallas Bay Volunteer Fire Department Station 2 in support of the flooding and rescue efforts in the Dallas Bay Saudi Daisy area. David, what do you have for us?
If there's lightning, the rule is, of course, stay in your car. But if there's flooding, the rule is not to stay in your car, especially if you are hearing the sloshing of currents under your tires. In half the deaths in this country from storm waters are of people in cars. So what they may have done is ignore the claim of a barricade put up by the county emergency management system or the county sheriff's department or a municipal police department. They say, well, I know that street, I just can get through. It's not too high. It looks all right. And the party in the car shuffles down the way there, and the car then gets caught, and then the currents go higher. The person doesn't want to get out because afraid of walking in fast moving waters along the roadway, and so that person then dies in the car. So that is something to think about. Other people have made that mistake. So you, my listener, you are a listener here at 92.7, if you have maybe a strong sense of urgency and necessity, let that not control you, but rather say, there's a barricade there for a reason, and I'm not going to disregard it. I'm going to understand that it's intended for my benefit and protection, and I'm going to turn around and change plans.
We just got a report from our correspondent on the ground, Sam Jordan. He's on Route 153. He says traffic is moving along steadily. The rain is not as heavy as it was earlier. Drivers being cognizant of the wet conditions, even TDOT on their electronic message boards are urging drivers to slow down because of the wet conditions. He says he's on his way to Hickson to give us a live report, so we'll bring that to you as soon as he arrives on the scene. Hamilton County Emergency Management Agency opened up a command post at Dallas Bay Volunteer Fire Department Station 2 in support of the flooding and rescue efforts in the Dallas Bay Soddy Daisy area. There are 2 shelters which are open right now: Oak Street Baptist Church at North Oak Street in Soddy Daisy, and Daisy Baptist Church, Daisy First Baptist Church on Dayton Pike in Soddy Daisy. Those 2 areas are open for you if you need a place to go. Remember the old adage, which is turn around and don't drown. We have heavy rains and high flood waters, especially in the area of Soddy Daisy. Mowbray Mountain has been seeing some pretty serious problems there as well. So watch out for those 2 areas particularly, where we've had some serious flooding. And unfortunately, we got word of 1 casualty as a result of the high flood waters, which David's been telling us about. We got a report of a car crash, no injuries, that just happened on West Martin Luther King Boulevard near the west on-ramp as well at Highway 27. Jason, what do you have for us?
Remember, one of the flash flood warning until 8:30 tonight, National Weather Service, Morristown. This afternoon, we had a lot of rains that have just came down, and it just got us just out of the blue.
Really came out of nowhere, yeah.
But locations in that warning: Chattanooga, Soddy, Signal Mountain, Walden, Lakeside, Ridgeside, Fairmont, Harrison, Red Bank, Collegedale, Flat Top Mountain, Lookout Mountain, North Chickamauga Creek Gorge, East Ridge, Ottawa, Middle Valley, Birchwood, Falling Water, Shady Grove, Appleton. All because we've been talking mainly about Soddy in the northern part of the county still doesn't mean that there can't be issues in the southern part down here, because the waters will move this way.
Right, and Catoosa County particularly, people tend to forget about Catoosa County, unfortunately, but Catoosa County is an area where we do see a lot of flooding as well. We have Chickamauga Creek that's right there. And we've seen flooding in particularly a public park in Ringgold, sort of a walking trail area. There's been reports of flooding there, as well as the high floodwaters have just been really wreaking havoc on the walking trail. So I guess a word of warning: don't go for a hike today. It's a bad day to do that. We got a report of a theft from a vehicle, Woodvale Avenue, that just came down, and wires down reported on Worley Road at Brushfire Trail. There's no cross street there, so it's Brushfire Trail at Worley Road. Still looking at reports of that lockdown at Brainerd High. 5 students reportedly hospitalized after ingesting what they're calling a substance. School placed on a soft lockdown to keep students in place as the police began investigating the issue. They say they had canine units in to sniff out, to try to find out what that substance was. They ingested, again, what they're calling a substance, according to investigators. They do not know what that substance was. Canine units brought in to do a sweep of the halls, rooms, and backpacks. 5 students hospitalized in what they're calling stable condition right now. Chattanooga Police Chief David Roddy said those 5 students had concerning physical symptoms at a press conference at 1:15, which ran a little bit late into 1:58. We'll continue bringing you updates on that. We'll give you more as soon as we can. David, what do you have for us?
Just a reminder about flooding. Flooding and flash flooding, when it occurs, is shaped by topography. That is to say, the shape of the land. If you have a hilly area such as around Soddy Daisy, where I'm a resident, you can have the amplification of rainfall. It's rain steadily throughout where you may be, but if you are in a day of heavy rainfall, you have suddenly the gathering of water in a valley or along a side of a hill, and there is the danger. Hills and valleys amplify water and speed and depth, so that could be dangerous, as it has already taken the life of an elderly woman in Soddy Daisy. Though 3 men tried to help her, she was dragged away from them as they were holding on to her in a state of exhaustion.
Yes, and we got a report of wires down on Worley Road. One thing that we do not want to mix is down power lines and floodwaters. That's a particularly dangerous situation. We have the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office and the Mowbray Mountain Volunteer Fire Department on the scene right now. We've gotten multiple calls of wires down throughout the area. The 911 call center is refreshing itself so quickly. Sometimes it's hard to keep track of everything that's going on. We're getting so many 911 calls. We got a report of wires down Ox Highway at West 42nd Street and Michigan Avenue. Again, that's Ox Highway, West 42nd Street and Michigan Avenue. A report of wires down and a car crash with entrapment on Boy Scout Road at Sandswitch Road. Reportedly, there's been a car in water and a rescue situation with volunteer fire department involved in that rescue situation. I want to call your attention one more time to the old adage, which is turn around and don't drown. It's something we all need to remember. If you see floodwaters that are going across the roadway, especially if they're going all the way across, you see them flowing, just turn around. Forget about it. Go home. go to a store, do what you need to do, but do not go across that road. If you see floodwaters going across the roadway, just forget about it. And remember to slow down. I know I notice this a lot, by the way, when I'm driving. I see people who are driving in the rain, and they actually tend to drive faster. Not sure why that is, but that's something that we need to break ourselves of. We need to break ourselves of that habit of driving faster when it rains. Let's slow down as rainwaters are coming or floodwaters are coming through the area.
If you, our listener, have something to offer, make sure that you call us. We're at 800-8949. That's 800-8949. That's the studio number here for 92.7 Nuke Radio. Just put that in your phone. If you have a moment, that's it's a local call, 423, and it's 800-8949, 800-8949. If you're out and about, we would love to hear your review of what's in front of you or what you just left behind. Do give us a call. It's 800-8949, and you're here in the newsroom of Nuke Radio with Russell, our news director, me, David Toulis, and also Jason Kirk, looking to keep you current on what's happening here in the Chattanooga area and Hamilton County.
Yes, if you see floodwaters approaching your house, first of all, get out of there. Second of all, give us a call and tell us what you saw and where you are, because it's always good to get a view of where these things are happening, because we know a lot of the issues are in North Chattanooga. We know a lot of the issues are in Soddy Daisy, Mowbray Mountain, the area of Dallas Bay. We know that's where a lot of our problems are centered, but it's always good to get a clue from people who are actually on the ground, and I think we have one of those people right now. Caller, you're on the air. What's up?
Hi, this is Sam Jordan. I am out on North Hickson Pike. As I had texted you a little bit earlier there, Russell, traffic is moving along fairly decent. However, I have noticed quite a few cars, and I know David had just mentioned here a little while ago, talking about, situations, where a lot of people will speed up to get through water. Well, there is also one other area. If you've got spare tires, you don't have enough good tread, well, you might want to be careful on that, because I've seen a lot of people coming out of intersections at red lights where they're spinning their tires because of the wet surfaces. So that's one other area that we could also kind of be, reminiscing there a little bit. Do I have decent tires? Do I need to be out on this or not? But so far, for the most part, traffic is moving along pretty steadily. Not any real issues. The rain's lightened up a little bit, but it's been going in a little bit of waves at times as well.
How's the standing water situation look? Any accumulation?
I haven't really seen a whole lot of standing water, except there when I left the facilities there in Eastridge. There were some little ponding areas, but for the most part, I'm heading out of Hickson up toward Soddy Daisy, up along the Hickson Pike, where there are several roads that have been closed off already. But for the most part, the drainage situation seems to be moving along pretty good there. Once we get a little bit further up into the Middle Valley area, we'll check back in with you.
Okay, Sam, we appreciate it. Stay safe out there.
All right, thanks.
We got a report of 5 students taken to the hospital Wednesday morning after they began showing what they're calling concerning physical symptoms, according to the Chattanooga Police Chief David Roddy, who reported that those 5 students ingested an unknown substance. The school was placed on soft lockdown to keep students in place as the police began investigating the issue. Parents were called and notified of the lockdown, according to the TFP. Still developing story. We'll keep you updated on that and let you know what we find out. We got a report of a car crash, no injuries on Bonnie Oaks Drive at Laguana Drive near Canyon Drive. A missing juvenile on Green Pond Road at Sugar Bear Trail, and a report of a car crash, no injuries on Highway 27 southbound near West 4th Street has come in as well. David, what do you have for us?
There is a small mudslide on Hickson Pike in Soddy Daisy, just at the intersection of Armstrong Road, where the bridge crosses the lake. A small mudslide is not blocking traffic, but it is worth noting. And also, there has been, as reported in the press today, there has been a death. An elderly woman was leaving her house to escape rising waters in her rooms, and was outside with a small dog, and somehow got caught or lost her balance, as old people sometimes do in moving waters. When the water passes under your feet, as you know from going to the beach as a child, you can stand there and lose your sense of orientation as the water rises up and recedes in the waves. And so something like that may have happened to her. We don't know, of course, but efforts were made by 3 men, including Alan Lewis, who runs a tree cutting business, and another man, Raymond McKeel, and a third man not named near the Saudi Masonic Lodge, by which there passes a creek. And this woman was outside with her dog, and she was on her back in the water. They went to her. They tried to reach her. They did, and held on to her for about 10 minutes. But they were very tired, according to the report, and exhausted. And they did manage to get themselves out. But she, whether she was dead already is not clear. But her body was found later by rescue officials here in Hamilton County.
And that's the first confirmed casualty of the storms that we have so far. Hopefully we do not get word of more. Make sure you turn into the morning news, which is on from 6 to 9 every morning here on Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7. That's the morning news. We're on Russell and Val, Chattanooga's morning news, every morning from 6 to 9 in the morning right here at Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7. Jason, what do you have for us?
Don't forget the emergency shelters are open. Oak Street Baptist Church, 11340 North Oak Street, and the Saudi Daisy First Baptist Church. Both of those do have storm shelters open at this time. Also, we're under a flash flood warning until 8:30. That's a flash flood warning for Hampton County until 8:30. So we're not out of this event by any means yet until the water actually starts to recede. So there's still a good chance that, more water will come in, and it can still get higher where you're at. So turn around, don't drown. Don't forget also, too, the area around Highway 111 toward the bottom of the mountain in Saudi Daisy there's a sinkhole that is formed on Highway 111. Avoid the area at all if you can. Once again, though, it's the 111. PHP has reported a sinkhole has formed there at the bottom of the mountain.
Let's see. Tennessee Highway Patrol reporting a sinkhole, Highway 111, a much-traveled area, particularly around rush hour, which is going to be coming up here soon. They've closed off the area. That's something that you do not see very often. Hamilton County Emergency Management Agency, just like Jason said, opening up a command post at Dallas Bay Volunteer Fire Department Station 2 in support of the flooding and rescue efforts in the Dallas Bay and Saudi Daisy areas. I'm looking at Hamilton County Schools Twitter here, their official Twitter account, where they were updating quite a bit just a few hours ago, but now they sort of cut it off at 3 o'clock roughly, or rather 3 hours ago roughly. After school activities are canceled, according to Hamilton County Schools, so no ball games to be played today. One thing I want to warn you about, however, is that we do not have word about whether or not they're going to be open up tomorrow. So there's no word on that yet from Hamilton County Schools. Normally we don't like to report on what we don't know, but that's a pretty big one. We don't know, actually, if they're going to be opening up school tomorrow or not. We haven't gotten word from Hamilton County Schools. They may make a decision later on tonight. They may make a decision sometime early in the morning tomorrow. Either way, you'll hear it from us here on Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7, and we'll have it for you in the morning. 6 to 9, Russ and Val, we're live every morning, every weekday morning anyway, from 6 to 9 here on Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7. Following that story of 5 Brainerd students hospitalized after taking unknown substance, that indicates it may have been some kind of narcotic when they put it that way, taking a substance. The student's condition apparently not life-threatening, according to Police Chief David Roddy. The students believed to have ingested a substance, according to investigators at Brainerd High. They do not know what that substance was. Canine units were brought in to do a sweep of the halls, the rooms, and student backpacks placed on a soft lockdown. That came at exactly the same time that they announced Hamilton County Schools will be opening or letting out early. That was at 12 o'clock. And almost immediately afterward, we got word that Brainerd High was on lockdown. So those students were not let out until about 2 hours later, when they finally decided to, or 1 hour later, where they finally decided to let the students out. That was at 1:05 p.m. So about an hour and a half, or rather an hour delay for those students who were stuck there at school after 5 students were hospitalized. And again, we've got a report of 1 person dead after flooding in Saudi Daisy. We've gotten word that the Dallas Bay, Dallas Hollow Road particularly has been hit bad. Dallas Hollow Road apparently closed down with emergency crews on scene. Residential fire reported on Tunnel Boulevard at Windmere Drive, and a car crash, no injuries on Bonnie Oaks Drive at Laguana Drive near Canyon Drive, and a report of a car crash, no injuries, Highway 27 southbound at the West 4th Street on-ramp. So we have a lot going on here in Chattanooga. First responders definitely working overtime. Volunteer fire departments are on high alert, getting out there to the scene of various accidents, various injuries, unfortunately, and reports of wires down throughout the city. David, what do you have for us?
Just a question, Russell. You mentioned that the officers at Brainerd High School searched backpacks, and I would have have our listeners know that we are monitoring the work of our department here. And if there is a search for something that is thought to be of a criminal nature, there can't be a search of anybody's particular backpack without there being probable cause or a warrant. So a general search of people's property is not allowed, I don't believe. and I'm thinking of a case in Worth County, Georgia, where the sheriff, Jeff Hobby, had a mass search of all the students. This was a body pat down, and he was criminally charged with violation of his oath, and the county had to pay, I think, $3 million in damages to most of 700 students who were physically searched. So there are limits on what police can do, and I don't think that just because the students of our listeners are in a public school that they don't have their rights. And so if there is a search, there has to be some particular belief that a particular student has something illegal in his possession. And so that's just a caution for the listener. If you've gone to pick up a son or daughter there, do please ask about that question. It is one in which we have a great interest here, that the rights of all people be respected by those in authority, Russell.
Yeah, and it apparently was a canine sniffing, so probably not a pat down, as indicated by the report from the TFP. It was actually a canine unit sniffing him down. We just got a report of a wire down on 14th Avenue near East 31st Street that's just now come in. The Chattanooga Police Department and Fire Department on the scene of a wires down call on 14th Avenue. Suspicious person reported on Ringgold Road at Westside Drive. It happens every day. Harassment reported on 5th Avenue Court, and a car crash, no injuries on Bonnie Oaks Drive near Laguana Drive and Canyon Drive. Lots going on for our first responders here. Chattanooga Fire Department on the scene, and multiple different calls about wires down, car crashes, flooded roads. Sam Jordan, our correspondent, is on the ground right now. He told us that the rain is letting up, but there is still some standing water out there, and we've gotten reports that Dallas Hollow Road is closed down as a result of floodwaters, and we have sinkholes, we have mudslides. There's a lot of stuff going on here when it comes to our weather. Jason, what do you have for us, sir?
Yeah, in the area of Big Slotty Creek, I was looking just a few seconds ago at a photo from there, showed it completely underwater. And if you have anything that you want to share with us, you can do that on our Facebook page, Nooga Radio 92.7 FM. You can email it to us, noogaradio@gmail.com. So if you want to share some of those photos with us, we'd love to see them, and we'll post them on our social media accounts. That way we can share what you've shared with us. Looking at the traffic cameras out toward the Saudi Daisy area, traffic appears to be moving good now. So it's less of an issue there traffic-wise. As we get back toward Hamilton County, though, the only real issue, the city proper, the only real issue we have right now is coming around the Ridge Cut between Russell Boulevard and up the Ridge. So traffic is actually moving, finally, compared to what we've had earlier today during this weather. Don't forget the shelters are open. There's two. Saudi Daisy Baptist is open, and Oak Street Baptist, all in Saudi. Those two shelters are open for you. So if you have a need to get there, go ahead and get there. Remember, if you see flooding water, don't go across it. Stay where you are. Turn around. Go the other direction. Your life is worth more than going across that stretch of road. Remember what they say from the Weather Service, turn around, don't drown. And speaking of the Weather Service, we are under a flash flood warning until 8:30 tonight. So just keep that in mind. As you know, this does start to slack up. Doesn't necessarily mean the issue's over.
And David's waving me down. I believe you have a report, sir.
It's a pretty large system. If you look on your television screen, the radar picture in Meigs County, there has been heavy rain as well. A school closing, and at least one road is washed out, and that's Blythe Ferry Road and Childs Road. And there are reports of buses stop, people being forced to turn back, and rushing waters at culverts and at pipes passing under roads. This came on very quickly. The deputy director of schools in Meigs County said, David Brown, he said, we have not seen it come on as quick as we've seen this morning. There were several areas, he says, that would cause hydroplaning if you were going too fast. He says, drive slowly and be safe.
And we're getting updates on that Brainerd High School situation where they were placed on what they're calling a general lockdown. It was actually a soft lockdown. David Roddy spoke at a press conference, and so did Tim Hensley, the Hamilton County School spokesman, where he said a total of 5 students were taken to the hospital after becoming sick after ingesting what they're calling some kind of unidentified substance. Hensley clarified it's not environmental. We're not sure what we're dealing with. That's a direct quote from Tim Hensley. Chattanooga Fire Chief David Roddy said police were notified by school officials that school resource officers that apparently people were getting sick. 5 students hospitalized with what they're calling alarming issues, alarming symptoms. Those 5 students taken to the hospital, and they're now in reportedly stable condition. We got a report of wires down 14th Avenue at East 31st Street. Car crash, no injuries on Bonnie Oaks Drive at Laguana Drive and Canyon Drive. There's a lot going on here at Chattanooga for our first responders. Shout out to all the volunteer fire departments, which are now on high alert. They've been sending out a lot of personnel, particularly in the area of Dallas Bay. Dallas Hollow Road, we got reports is completely flooded with the area blocked off completely. We are hearing that most of our problem areas are in low-lying spots, as you would expect, but it looks like the most hard-hit area is Dallas Bay and Saudi Daisy. We've gotten reports that Harrison's also seeing flooding near the bay, as you would expect. Shalford Road, it looks to be all right at the intersection of 153. I know it's a heavily traveled area this time of day. 75 at the split actually doesn't look to be too bad right now. 75 northbound, the 2475 split appears to be moving along with no major delays at the moment. But one thing I want to warn you about is that you should definitely slow down. I know the speed limit is 70 miles an hour coming out of Georgia. Let's take that back a notch, maybe 65, 60. Let's take that back a notch as traffic is a little bit slower, yes, but that's a good thing because we don't want to see any more car accidents. We've amazingly only seen a few reports of car accidents here in Chattanooga, with just a few coming in. Car crash, no injuries on Bonnie Oaks Drive, and we got another one on Highway 27. Reports of a car crash with possible entrapment came in a little bit earlier. That was on Boy Scout Road near Sandswitch Road, a report of a car crash with entrapment. Jason, what do you have for us, sir?
Newest closing information that came into to us here. Abba's House. Then these are all churches which will not have anything, any services or anything going on this afternoon. Abba's House, Brainerd Presbyterian, Central Church of Christ, Dallas Bay Baptist, First Baptist Chattanooga, First Baptist Golden Gateway, First Calvary Baptist, Grace Baptist Church Dayton, Grace Church of the Nazarene, Hickson First Baptist, Lupton Drive Baptist, Mile Straight Baptist, North Etowah Baptist, One Accord Community Church, Parkway Baptist, Red Bank Baptist, Red Bank Church of Christ, Ridgedale Baptist Church of Chattanooga, Sell Creek First Baptist Church, Sequoia Baptist Tabernacle, Stewart Heights Baptist Church, White Oak Baptist, and Woodland Park Baptist Church have all told us there will be no services tonight. And even if your church isn't listed on this list, it's probably a good chance just to stay home tonight anyway. We are under a flash flood warning until 8:30 tonight from the National Weather Service. So that means there's still concerns of water rising and being in areas and situations. So help our emergency management personnel by staying home. Don't get out there and just in yourself in a situation where you have to call 911 and pull them off of something that they're already working. So if you don't have to get out this afternoon between now and tomorrow, stay at home, enjoy a good night at the house, watch some TV, listen to us here at Nooga Radio, so that way we can keep you updated for the rest of the afternoon through the night. We don't know of any closings for tomorrow yet. As soon as we do, we'll pass that along to you either here or on our Facebook page. We're on Facebook, Nooga Radio 927 FM. We post all of our current updates there as well. Don't forget, too, there's the shelters that are open out in Saudi. So if you're in need of the shelter, Saudi Daisy Baptist and Oak Street Baptist Church both have shelters open. Saudi Daisy PD is asking everybody, stay off the road, stay home, don't get out. And I know I've been preaching this, but stay in the house. If you've got family members, call and check on them, but just stay off the roads.
We got a call, a report coming in. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Sam. Jordan reporting live out here on Dallas Hollow Road, just outside of the Saudi Daisy area. I traveled up to Lakeside where I was really starting to see a little bit more ponding on the roads. And as I turned back and I came across Dallas Hollow heading over toward Dallas Bay, I'm noticing a lot of homes are starting to get right at the point where the water is at the front steps. Numerous homes that are having that, and there's quite a bit of debris that we're seeing along the roadway, as well as in yards where the yards are pretty much inundated with water. As I'm going past right now, I'm seeing a few horse pastures that are also seeing some flooding that's going on, but the roadways, you just don't know what you're going to come across. We've had where debris or stones or, the dirt has been washed out onto the roadway. So please make sure that when you are out and about that you do travel a lot slower, just to make sure that you get through those areas pretty safely. But for the most part, we're seeing a little bit more of the flooding substantially along the Dallas Hollow Road area here in Hamilton County. Reporting live in Hamilton County, I'm Sam Jordan for Nooga Radio.
We just got a report of a car crash with no injuries on Brainerd Road. Car crash, unknown injuries on Tunnel Boulevard, and a car crash with injuries on Tunnel Boulevard. So Crescent Park, Ridgeside Drive, Tunnel Boulevard area, Chattanooga Fire Department on the scene of a car crash with injuries reported. EMS called out to Upton Road. in the area of Deborah Road, and a car crash. Again, unknown injuries on Tunnel Boulevard, but I think they've updated that to have injuries on Tunnel Boulevard at the Ridgeside Drive. There's a lot going on here in Chattanooga for our first responders. Wires down 14th Avenue at East 31st Street. The police department and the fire department on scene in the area. David, go ahead, sir.
Yes, our listener may think, well, this is a perfect day for leisure, but maybe not, especially if one tends to walk along the river walk down by the Manker Patton Tennis Club. That walk is being shut there from the rowing center all the way to the Manker Patton Tennis Club. I'm not sure that there are a lot of people out there right now just rushing to get their exercise laps in, gentlemen, on the walking track. But also there is not going to be any after school care today at Berean Academy, which will be closing in 30 minutes. And Berean Baptist Church is closed today. There won't be evening activities due to flooding and road closures. And Woodland Park Baptist also will not have any worship activities or other goings on at Woodland Park Baptist.
Okay, we got a report of wires down on 14th Avenue at East 31st Street and East 32nd Street. Just got a report of that. And one thing I want to stress is to make sure you slow down if you're going to be driving. Slow down, especially if you're on the interstate, because we've seen we got reports of a lot of hydroplaning. We just got a text from one of our sales associates saying that, actually the sales manager, associate may be a bit insulting, our sales manager saying that there's been hydroplaning on 24 going westbound. So that's been causing some serious problems on 24 westbound. We got major delays here in Chattanooga, mostly because of the rain that's been causing major delays, and we have puddling water, especially in the area of Saudi Daisy. Car crash, unknown injuries on Tunnel Boulevard at Pinewood Avenue. It looks like they may have updated that because of injuries reported. I'm trying to keep track of everything going on here. Car crash injuries reported on Tunnel Boulevard at Crescent Park and Ridgeside Road. Fire assisting police department on the W Road at Siegel Drive and East Brow Road. We got a lot going on for our first responders here. Walden's Ridge Emergency Services on high alert on the way. Brainerd High School went on lockdown today after several students experienced some kind of illness. Brainerd High on lockdown. That has been lifted. Hamilton County School spokesman Tim Hensley said a total of 5 students were taken to the hospital after becoming sick and ingesting some kind of unidentified substance, as they call it. Jason, what do you have for us?
Highway 111, THP's reported a sinkhole. 2 sinkholes now on Highway 111 near Saudi Daisy down to the end of the mountain. Avoid that area if you can. I think THP actually has now got a couple lanes shut off. If not, the whole thing there is closed. Don't forget, there's a couple of shelters that are open. Saudi Daisy Baptist and Oak Street Baptist. Those shelters are open if you need them out in Saudi Daisy. And like I said earlier, Saudi Daisy PD is reminding people to stay off the road. Do not get out if you don't have to. Don't forget, we're under a flash flood warning until 8:30 tonight. That's a flash flood warning for Hamilton, all of Hamilton County, until 8:30 tonight. So that means the Weather Service has a good chance of thinking that there's more either going to pile up, going to come, and it's also going to help that runoff in the coming days.
This is Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7. This is Russell Stroud, joined by Jason Kirk and David Toulis. We've been bringing you the updates. We'll bring you more throughout the day and tomorrow morning from 6 to 9 on Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7. And we'll bring it to you here live. Russell Stroud, Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7.
WPLZ HD4 Udawa, W224AZ Chattanooga.
Serving Chattanooga.
Broadcasting live from the center of the universe, the Tennessee Valley's most listened to news talk station.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Quicken Loans.
I'm Jim Shenevy. On the eve of that Senate Judiciary Committee hearing on sex allegations against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, a third accuser has come forward, a woman who alleges she witnessed others being raped at drunken parties when Kavanaugh was a high school student. CBS's Nicole Killian.
Attorney Michael Avenatti has released a sworn statement from a client accusing Judge Brett Kavanaugh of lining up at high school parties to allegedly rape girls. Avenatti's client, Julie Swetnick, says, I also witness efforts by Mark Judge, Brett Kavanaugh, and others to cause girls to become inebriated and disoriented so they could then be gang raped in a side room or bedroom by a train of numerous boys.
President Trump reacted to these latest allegations.
It's disgraceful. It's a disgrace to the country. And I think you're going to see it in the midterms. I think people are wise to it. It's just a con game. He's a high-quality person. They're bringing people out of the woods. They can do that to anybody.
The president told a UN Security Council meeting today that China has been trying to meddle in the upcoming U.S. congressional elections.
Trump administration officials have said actors other than Russia have tried to interfere with American elections. Holding the gavel as he led a meeting of the Security Council, President Trump pointed to China.
They do not want me or us to win because I am the first president ever to challenge China on trade.
Mr. Trump didn't elaborate on the claim or say what he's prepared to do in response. Stephen Portnoy, CBS News, the United Nations.
As expected, the Federal Reserve moved today to raise interest rates. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell.
As the economy has steadily gained strength, the Fed has been gradually returning interest rates closer to levels that are normal in a healthy economy. We took another step on that path today with a quarter-point increase in short-term interest rates.
And Powell foresees one more rate hike this year, followed by 3 more in 2019. Up to 9,000 people have been urged to evacuate South Carolina neighborhoods subject to new flooding in the aftermath of Hurricane Florence. FEMA Director Brock Long.
The problem is that the event is still ongoing, and it's going to be frustrating for many of those as this water continues to creep down the basins. We're trying to do everything that we can to pre-position commodities and pre-position support to be ready to help not only individuals, but also the communities to repair their infrastructure once the water starts to recede.
It was breakfast behind bars today for comedian and convicted sex offender Bill Cosby, his first night in prison on a 3 to 10 year sentence handed down by a suburban Philadelphia judge yesterday. Cosby's publicist lashed out at what he called a racist and sexist justice system and vowed an appeal. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 15, the Nasdaq has gained 20, and the S&P up 5. This is CBS News.
National Mortgage Lender Quicken Loans. Apply simply, understand fully, mortgage confidently. Licensed in all 50 states, equal housing lender, NMLS number 3030.
I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's premier home purchase lender. We've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates. Our exclusive Rate Shield approval. First, we lock your interest rate for up to 90 days. Then, if rates go up, your rate stays locked. But if rates go down, your rate drops. Either way, you win. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
You started a DIY project at home. Then you realize convenience isn't always easy. The why in DIY doesn't mean why is this so hard. At ADT, we DIFY. Do it for you. We customize and install a secure smart home that you control from the palm of your hand or the sound of your voice. Smart security, designed and installed just for you with ADT. Visit ADT.com/smart to learn more. License information available at ADT.com. ADT, real protection.
Federal safety regulators are looking for ways to reduce the number of pedestrian traffic deaths.
The number of motorists killed in crashes is down, but the number of pedestrians killed is up sharply. The causes are complex, but USA Today reports both regulators and car makers say current federal rules have left American cars stuck with outdated headlight technology. So the National Transportation Safety Board says the U.S. should legalize high-tech headlights and should require that new car safety ratings include pedestrian safety too. Vicki Barker, CBS News.
69-year-old Myron Schlafman of Jamestown, North Dakota, was hurt while making sausage in his garage. His left arm got caught in an electric meat mixer when he accidentally stepped on the pedal activating the machine. He ended up losing his hand and part of his arm, but it was his choice. He used a butcher knife to sever the hand so that he could call for help. And he credits 2 police officers with saving his life as they were quick to respond and stop the bleeding. Jim Sheneby, CBS News.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
John Smith, the man accused in the deadly Grundy County shooting, was transferred from the hospital to county jail. He's accused of killing his ex-wife and wounding 2 others before he himself was taken down by return fire. Deputies say the murder happened in front of their children. In Wartburg, Tennessee, a prison inmate has pled not guilty to charges he escaped from the correctional complex, only to sneak back in a few days later with items to sell on the prison black market. 37-year-old Robert Fusco stood trial along with 8 other inmates. Among those charged is a former corrections officer who knew all the ins and outs of the system. And Chattanooga police asked for the public's help in a deadly hit-and-run case. Reports say a woman's body was found in a ditch by a passing motorist who dialed 911. Police believe she was killed by a hit-and-run driver who sped away. Now the hunt is on for the driver. If you have any information, give police a call. Val St. John for Nooga Radio, News Talk 92.7, Action News now.
Nooga
A few leftover showers and thunder showers still possible out there through your nighttime. Still quite wet. Overnight lows into the upper 60s. For Thursday, a few morning showers and thunder showers. Then they'll slowly diminish through the afternoon. Highs mid and upper 70s. A little drier for Friday. Tired of the pressures and hassles of car shopping? Come see what more people are making the short drive to Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Lafayette or online at jacksongm.com. That's Jackson Chevy Buick GMC in Lafayette. And I'm Source Gene 12 Chief Meteorologist Patch Report.
Radio 92.7.
I'm not going anywhere.
A Fox News interview is not an FBI investigation.
Holding them accountable. Sean gets the answers no one else does. Freedom is back in style. Welcome to the revolution.
We burning down the night, shooting bullets at the moon, baby. This is how we roll.
Sean Hannity, the new Sean Hannity Show. More behind-the-scenes information on breaking news and more bold, inspired solutions for America. Only 41 days left. 41 days left. Until you decide the midterm elections to keep America great.
All right, glad you're with us. We are in the swamp. We are in Washington, D.C. Thank you, my friend Scott Shannon. Talking to him yesterday. Write down our toll-free telephone number. Even though we are here in the sewer, you remain hopefully in the heartland and normal America, because this is not a normal town. It's 800-941-SEAN if you want to be a part of the program. We've got a lot of ground to cover. I'm going to get to all of it. And I'm going to start by saying, and this is hard for people to understand when I say this, none of this that is unfolding today, or none of this that has been unfolding in this whole process with Judge Kavanaugh in any way, shape, manner, or form surprises me. Sadly, I understand the tactics of the left in America. When there was an opening for Neil Gorsuch on the Supreme Court, again, I play what happened to Robert Bork. I play what happened to Clarence Thomas. As we have now been peeling the onions away, the layers of the onions, based on the stories of Professor Ford and Ms. Ramirez, and now this client of Michael Avenatti, the new face of the Democratic Party, along with Maxine Waters and Nancy Pelosi. None of this shocks me. I'm going to give you all the details, but I want to backtrack 1 second here because, and some of you have heard me tell this story before, but it really is appropriate now. And I had mentioned how when I was a local host in Atlanta, that all of a sudden I'm on the air and the story breaks. Richard Jewell, who we all thought was a hero, he fits the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, came out with a headline. He fits the profile of a lone bomber. And one of the reasons they cited, the main reason they cited, after all, he lives with his mother. And I'm like, so he lives with his mother. Maybe it's not conventional. Most kids move out at some point. They go out on their own. How do you know he wasn't taking care of his elderly mother? His mother was sick, or maybe the mother was sick and nobody knew it, and he was the only one that would take care of her. It hardly fit the profile in my mind of a lone bomber. I didn't know at the time. Richard Jewell was listening to the program, gave me one of his first interviews after he'd been exonerated. But I mean, this guy went through hell. I would argue he probably died at a younger age. He passed away some years ago as a result of this. It taught me a valuable lesson